行きましょう。
観光旅行？まるで遊びだよ。ディメンションワープスタンバイ。
セッオン。
10、9、8、7、6、5、4、3、2、1。ディメンションワープゴー。あー
ここがレム王国？
んなバカな。
Euphoria was once a verb, destined for a weekend if you live by astrological measures. I act, therefore I am. Thinking's not a cardinal sin, but there's a danger that lingers with every powering sentence. Eyes on the ball, winning's the objective. Targetless with aim, yet hungry for precision. I puncture my teeth into a smiling posture that emulates joy. He said with life comes courage. Another signal from the origin. Woo! Yeah! Another reason to abuse it. Alive! Yeah! I got a good time if you wanna. Woo! Yeah! Lunch on for bags, Ramona. Where art thou virtues? Stoic in tendency with a history of lackadaisical crime. My indestructible mountain, now guarded a hungry dog, terrorizes my ability to question who is sane. The angels are among us, the animals are at bay. All instinct is a gamble on a horse with an interesting title. Meditation's my mantra, 2,000 years of rest. Words will outlive civilization. With life comes courage. Another signal from the origin. Woo! Yeah! Another reason to abuse it. Alive! Yeah! I got a good time if you wanna. Woo! Yeah! Lunch on for Pax Ramona. Lunch on for Pax Ramona. Simmer down, children, let the demons speak. Follow that wisdom with a calculated dream. The angels are among us, leave the animal at bay. 2,000 years of rest, and wait. Yeah. We fly in peace.
Welcome, everyone. Hopefully everything's working well and you guys are hearing me and seeing me. This is the band Psychedelic Porn Crumpets. March on Pax Romana was the video. And do check them out. I thought it was quite cool. I thought I already subscribed to that, to it yesterday. I only saw this come across my homepage yesterday and I was like, what is this? Is this an actual real band? Or is it just another, AI mashup by some, idiot or whatever, or somebody who decided it was fun to do. But I actually found out these guys are actually real and they sound pretty cool. That was a really cool sound, man. I love that whole rolling bass. I love bass and metal. As much as metal is like always guitar led, but there's that, there's this really cool rhythm that comes, that drive that comes from bass that you just, I guess you could get from really down tuning your, your guitar to a B or something like that, but the bass is just the bass, right? So there's some pretty cool, pretty cool videos out here on this channel. Do check them out. And I like the fact that they're using, plasticine, puppets and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's really creative. And let me just get you their homepage link. Or the name, I guess. The channel name needs to be changed to a name. It makes it easy on people to find them. So that's them there. PRN. If you're looking for their name, you won't see it as porn, but you'll see it as PRN. So welcome. I was going to say Thunderdome, but no, welcome to Punchcast. Okay, let's hear some music from Loudness before we go to the next lot. Let me bring up that song I chucked up there. This is Crazy Nights, right? Then we'll get into the more of a doco and learn more about them and stuff. That was a wicked, like, the lead guitar. Like, these guys came out at the same time Motley Crue came out, right? The 80s. And you could say, like, the American Motley Crue, Japan Loudness. The funny thing is these guys didn't start out like metal, bit like Pantera, right? Pantera was all glam rock and all that kind of poppy glam rock. And so basically, these guys started as a band called Lazy. Like, it was just, you know, this is them older, but like some of the things, like we'll see later on, is just, it kind of like, it's really funny to you know, to see what they were like when they first started out. If you want to check out their discography, well, you know, their releases, right? This is it here. You can check it out on. Get rid of that. Here's the link there for that. I cannot say that name right at all. Encyclopedia Metallum. So they had a lot of releases, man. Like, seriously, like 30 records. Competitive wise, like, you know, when you come to releasing music in such a long time, like, how many has Metallica done? Like, about what, 15? You know, and these guys like double that, but like Megadeth double the amount of releases and product, whatever you want to call it, songs. Just so many, right? Members. Let me bring this up so I can actually see what I'm looking at. It's a bit dark on my screen. So Masayoshi Hamashida, right? Bass, 81 to 92, and then they came back 2000, and they're present now. Akira Takasaki guitars. You know, Akira is the guy with the guitar, right? The lead guitar and stuff. He's the guy who comes up with all the music. I guess not all the music, but, you know, all the guitar break and all that leads. And he was classed as one of the best of his time right there and then back in the 80s. And they tried to bury him musically because he was that good, especially in the US, right? So Minoru Nihara is a vocalist, 81 to 88, and then back to 2000 revival. And then Masayuki Ampen, Suzuki, and drums from 2009 to present. So I can't remember who was doing the drums prior. They don't have listings there. That's the current lineup. Let's see. Related, similar artists. Nothing there on that. Oh, yep. Anthem, Judas Priest, right? Except from Germany, ex-Japan. We're going to be looking at ex-Japan. Ex-Japan is amazing. A couple down the line, very serious issues with their members. Like, one of the members got involved with a cult. Basically tore the band apart. A couple of deaths in the band as well. It's been really bad for them. But we're going to be looking at ex-Japan later. I know there's a lot of people are talking about American, British, German music, right? And bands and stuff. So I'm going to try to stay away from that because, don't want to go into rehash the same stuff. So I want to go concentrate more on like, non-English speaking bands. Whereas like the cool thing about Loudness was they did a lot of English songs, which made them break out, right? It's a bit like that band Bloodywood out of India, right? They've been doing really well because they are using English words. And I know if you're a band that's like non-English speaking or non-white, whatever, do put a couple of songs on there in English, because that, like, a lot of people, like, as much as your music's going to draw people in, people like to sing along. and they like to understand what they're saying, right? Even with Bloody Wood, I'm like sometimes like going, okay, that's pretty cool, and it's like, well, say something in English, right? And so they do, and which is really cool, right? And with the kind of like a new metal mix they've got going on with a rapper on there as well. So do check out Bloody Wood. That's bloody, right? BLOODY wood, like in Bollywood, but with the L. So yeah, Wasp, same time as Wasp, Raven, Iron Maiden, of course. 80s. Iron Maiden, of course, came out in like late 70s. My brain is remembering well. So yeah, 1980 they formed as Loudness. Earlier they were a band called, as I mentioned, Lazy, right? And so Lazy was kind of a pop rock band. So it's one of those, like, if you've ever seen what is it called? I've lost my brain now. Hold on, what was it called? Done it. What was the band called? It's actually based on a manga. Oh, Detroit Rock City. That's it. Detroit Metal City, right? So Detroit Metal City is it's one of my favorite animes, like rock music related animes, right? So I'll show you what this is. I've been trying to learn the bass to this. I got it down one time, and then I stopped playing it. But Detroit Metal City is a manga, right? That they did a live action. First, they did an anime series, which is really good, and it's kind of feels like, apart from the death metal thing, it feels like the story of Loudness, because it's got a kid who's wants to play love songs, and of course it's today is Valentine's Day in the Northern Hemisphere. So to all you couples out there, happy Valentine's Day, and hopefully you're out there doing your thing. Movies, what is that, Netflix and chill, date night and all that. But this is Detroit Rock City. There's a song called Sagutsi, Satsugai, right? So there's an animated video to the song. hopefully we return. Paula says that the stream is down, maybe because it was like the first song, the crazy one, or maybe the anime thing got me down. But we'll hang out. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll return, and when we do, we'll carry on. Let me just check my channel. Oh, it says we're live, so maybe we're back live. We're back live. Maybe are we back? Are we back? No, we're still down. Let's wait it out. All right, let's see when we get back. Might take a minute or two. Yes, we are back. Welcome. We're back. We are back. Yeah, yeah. It happened. It happened. It happened last. I'm hearing myself. Give me a sec. So yeah, it happened last time, and I was like, okay, we'll just wait it out. You don't like the thing here is you don't even know which song. Thanks, Paulus. We don't know which song will get will shut us down, shut down the stream, and so that's why I'm like now I'm like just let's wait it out. We'll be doing it, but do check out if you like metal, if you like music, if you like that the story fish out of water story. Detroit Metal City is an amazing, if you're a reader, comic books or whatever. The manga is amazing. Also, I need to get me a copy of it, right? Seriously, I need to get a physical copy of it. That's how good it is. And also, check out the anime, right? Anime is really, really good. It just tells you the whole sort of thing of like how idols become idols in Japan, and how how they put bands together and stuff. And it's just crazy. It's like the dark, it's kind of like the dark seedy side of it, but also it shows you, that sometimes, it's just like me. I remember coming like when I was a kid, right, a teenager. When I got into metal, I was like I was about maybe 15, going on 16. I don't know. And I discovered my dad's metal albums, right? Killers by Iron Maiden, Heavy, which is a compilation, both of which were gifted to me by Nate last year, right? So I was really, all the way from America, and unopened, sealed, right? So, and stuff like Black Sabbath, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, Live After Death, double LP, all of those I've lost, right, over time, and it really sucks. But that I lost them, right? But they really introduced me to music. That was really before that I was listening to something like I think Queen, Dire Straits. Nothing wrong with it. I still enjoy listening to that. But like suddenly I went from just being someone who's listening to music on the radio to actually getting music that's all of the songs on one album or one tape and going hard on that. And so for me, that's made a huge difference in my life as how I see the world, how I see music itself, how I see, pop culture, how I see the mainstream, and so music, art, and comics has just been part of my whole life because of that. Now I wanted to show you the live action of that Detroit Metal City, right? And we'll just play a little because in case they try to, knock down, take us down again. But this is the live, and I tried really hard to get a copy of this, and I was able to find one on archive.org, right? And so I haven't got around to watching it, but it's such a cool, because, I've seen the anime and I'm like, okay, I don't have to really watch the live action right now. But, and I think I've actually watched the anime twice because that's how good it is, So this is a live action movie. Here's the anime. So you can see they're going beat for beat for the anime. That's a great thing about this. It's like they're going beat for beat, right? It's just crazy. So this is Mao, one of the songs. Now this is live action as well. If I'm not... Oh no, somebody else is playing. Apologies. But yeah, do check out the anime for Detroit Metal City, right? That's like one of the best around. Now let's get on with the doco. The doco. Now, where are we? Here we go. This is like in 1985. Just give you how big these guys were before we get into the main thing. This is 1985. 1985 is around when, I think it was 85, I was what, 13? No, 12. Yeah. I'm 73 born, so yeah, 12. No clue about who these guys were at that time. So yeah. So just look at the crowd. This is 1985 for a Japanese band, right? This is how big these guys were. Let me just get that. About here. No. Let's grab this down. Things about here when. And Akira on the friggin' lead guitar, man, like friggin' amazing. And like Paulus Art said, you know, he likes it. And it's just, it's like these guys are like from Japan singing in English to a crowd like this. Look at that. Stadium. Right? In 85. So to think that, like, you know, you're not expecting such a big opening, but this is how big these guys were crossing over, that they were able to get to that, you know, to that level of engagement with the audience. Was it like they did a half an hour set? It's a 35-minute set? Yeah, 35-minute set. Play another one. Hold on. We might check that one out, Paulus. So fast. You can see how good the Akira is, right? Like on his guitar. And then you've got Masayoshi on bass there, just going crazy. And the drumming. You know, a lot of times I don't pay attention to drumming because I'm more bass and guitar oriented, but the drumming is just as fast and just as good. It's a solid sound, which is what really, you know. I was listening to. Let me just find this other one, right? There was people commenting about it, and people were, you know, they were saying, well, what's so good about the band, right? What's so good about this band? And people outside were getting asked, like, why these Japanese people, what's so great about this Japanese band? They go, well, the Akira is so good. These guys are really, really tight, and they sound really good, right? And this is back in '85. It's taken a while for people, like, I guess, like, music comes in waves, right? You rediscover the classics, or like Black Sabbath is having like their final sort of reunion thing, where there's a lot of people going to be getting together. This will be the last time Ozzy and the band will get together, and this is it, because Ozzy's not that well and he's elderly, right? So nobody stays with us forever. It's just how life is, right? Now, there is. There it is. It's right at the top. I missed it. I was like, where's that link for this? So now we'll go head into the and we'll cut back and fit with the music and stuff, but we'll head into the documentary. And this is from Metal School. And Metal School is a really, really cool if you want to discover old classics, or bands that are coming back, or revival of their music and stuff, so on. It's a pretty cool place to check out. So this is the link for them there, for their channel, Metal School channel, one word. And this is how I came across these guys. Like, I've never heard of them before, right? Because 2025, and I'm set in my ways on which bands I listen to, and if something new turns up and I like the sound, then I'll see it come up across my screen, on YouTube. Then I'll check it out, like I did with the Puppet Porn Crumpets earlier, right? We played what was the name of the song called? Where is it? The opening song we played. Yeah, I think it was Puppet Porn Crumpets was the name of the band. So let's check these guys out.
Loudness was formed in 1981 in Osaka, Japan, by a couple guys who'd spent the previous few years playing in a fairly successful pop band called Lazy. And before we get to Loudness, we have to talk about Lazy, because they're kind of fascinating. Despite taking their name from a Deep Purple song and wanting to play heavier music, Lazy got pushed into a poppier direction by managers and producers.
About idols, right?
They put out 5 albums between 1978 and 1980, which overall have a very 70s sound that ranges from bubblegummy boy band pop to general light rock and even some disco elements. It's actually pretty fun for what it is, but it also doesn't hurt that the guitar playing is already fantastic. But through all of it, you can literally feel a hard rock band trying to come out, like on their second album, Dream a Dream, with this album cover, when they suddenly throw out Full Count. It's like you're sitting there listening to a peppy light rock album, and then out of nowhere, there's a Van Halen solo.
That is crazy, right? Like, imagine going to like Backstreet Boys, and like suddenly like that almost sounds like it's death metal in the middle of a Backstreet Boys sound. That is pretty cool sound, man. Like, I was like, that riff just breaking out of that.
By their fifth album, Spaceship Earth, Lazy had dropped the pop side almost entirely in exchange for a mix of prog rock and Judas Priest style aggression. The guys were clearly ready for something different, and in the early months of 1981, Lazy would break up. Guitarist Akira Takasaki, drummer Munetaka Higuchi, and bassist Hiroyuki Tanaka formed Loudness, although Hiroyuki would leave to work on anime soundtracks and be replaced by Masayoshi Yamashita. With vocalist Minoru Nihara on board, they formed a band where they could play the kind of music they wanted to play.
大きい音とか、ケバケバしいとか。ということで、やっぱり音はやっぱ大きい。大きいです。めちゃめちゃ大きい。そうです。一番大きいです。
Loudness would release their first album, The Birthday Eve, in November of 1981. This album goes full-on heavy rock, with catchy as hell riffs and the energy of British heavy metal. Plus, free from the restrictions of Lazy, we start to get some truly epic Akira Takasaki solos.
Man, I'm just like,
Selected through an audition process, Minoru was just the right amount of over the top, and his voice goes perfectly with Akira's sweeping guitar. Once again, there's a strong Judas Priest vibe, but also just a Western rock influence in general. There was little to no media support for heavy music in Japan at the time, so there was no single off The Birthday Eve. But the album and live Loudness concerts did so well, the band released Burning Love as a single in May of 1982. The second album from Loudness, Devil Soldier, would come out just a couple months later.
wait, that's 2 albums within like a couple months. These guys were just waiting, like they've been writing these songs basically for ages and just waiting to break out, and do what they wanted to do. So Kira, man, it's like the trio of them just like, it's like, like I'm writing riffs all the time, but I'm like hardly ever write down most of them. And on my bass, I'm talking about, right? So nobody will ever hear it. It's just me, just hobbyist, right? But I'm thinking, because when you music or write or whatever, you're always doing stuff. And so what I'm saying here is like, so these guys have been messing around playing for years, and now they had a chance to, okay, everybody likes us song suddenly. Now we don't have to hold on to the whole boy band thing. Now we can just break out. Let's keep releasing music. And that's why you have 30 albums out, right? As of like 2023 or something like that from these guys under Loudness alone, not Lazy, Loudness. They already had 6 albums out under Lazy as a boy band, right? A pop rock band. But now they've got 30 albums out. Now I was hoping to, like, last week or the week before, try to get me a copy of one of the albums here in New Zealand. But last week, we were away for a wedding and everything, and so I was busy and I forgot all about it. because I wanted to play one on the old album, record playback here, to show you guys, that these albums are still available. Didn't get around to it because a lot of things happened in the last 2 weeks in preparation for them, going away and all that. But yeah, it's just to see that these guys had so much, great songs already ready to release on 2 albums within months of each other.
Apparently, that baby from the cover of the first album has been born, leaving his crystallized womb thing cracked open and empty. He could be anywhere by now. But he's actually only made it as far as the back cover, where he's seen wielding a halberd-type weapon and riding a jaguar. I'm not entirely sure what he's up to, but that is one tough-looking little baby. This album is along the same lines as the first, with a combination of tight, groovy riffs, screamy metal vocals, thick bass, and amazing solos.
Sounds like Iron Maiden. Just a lead.
And that energy carried over to their sold-out live shows, which helped the band grow a massive following across Japan. Loudness would release their third album, The Law of Devil's Land, in early 1983. Not only does Loudness continue their inventive take on Western rock here,
in 2
but
years.
there's also a flashiness to it that takes this one up another level for me.
Almost brass. Right. That actually sounds a bit like Exodus, Bonded by Blood. Let me grab that so I can get why I said it was thrash, right? So Exodus, Bonded by Blood. Let me play that. Okay, so this one, Wacom in 08. So you can hear the thrash sound from Loudness. That's why it's not just heavy metal, right?
What's up, motherfucker? Come on, you motherfuckers! Black and rights on this black evil night. Begin with the slice of the blade. That's the last blood of the generous one. Look our together to sky. Take the sweet blood of one another. Shit, without an agree. Bang out eyes, here for from the death metal. Swallow action then. Butter in the front row, cloudy gets a bang and the 12 bullets in. Bang around and get to see the metal thing and fight. That's right! That's how there's something to unfold.
So you can see the energy of it and the speedness of it. So I reckon, and by the way, you're right, that came out in 84, and Bonded by Blood came out in 84. It should have come out in like about 83 or something like that. But those guys had like in a turmoil, right, with the band and stuff. And so rather than coming out at the same time as Megadeth's Killing Is My Business, and Business Is Good, and Metallica's and Slayer as well, right? Exodus kind of missed out on that by being the top 4 because they got out a year later. So in the history books, Exodus kind of like got passed over rather than being the first, having their records out in 83, which is where, thrash speed metal kind of got their birth, right? In record history, not in like physical band history, because these guys were playing before that.
With those insane riffs and Akira's optimistic solos, it feels like a blend of Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, with touches of Van Halen, Queen, and Yngwie Malmsteen.
This is 83.
The Devil Baby has grown up a bit, and now he's sitting on a throne with a sword. I guess that seems pretty harmless. Oh, geez. Well, that doesn't look good. Anyway, like previous albums, the singles wouldn't actually be on the album. One single was released at the same time, with Geraldine on the A-side. They'd release another single towards the end of the year, with Road Racer on the A-side. This one has a galloping Iron Maiden-y feel. And is it just me, or is any metal song about racing always awesome?
It's the double the bass picking, right? It's like that run. It's like 2-finger picking, or strumming, I should say. And so it's like that. I can't do it because my freaking cartilage is cut off, and so I have to pick. And so, but like it's that's the thing I can't do with Iron Maiden, with the Adrian bass, because he's always like double. It's not like just dig dig dig. It's like you will see it on like Run to the Hills. If you try to play the bass, it's like you got to do it twice. So it's easy if you're just freaking doing with a pick, if your fingers don't work that way. But that's what the bass there, the bass line there sound like.
After the release of The Law of Devil's Land, Loudness would embark on their first international tour, going through the United States and then Europe. They'd end up staying in Europe to record their 4th album, Disillusion. The songwriting continues to grow in complexity here, even though the main riffs remain simple and hooky. The whole album is really an excellent blend of hard rock styles, from thrash and gut punch hard rock tracks to the rainbow-esque single Milky Way. And another highlight on the album is Akira's own Eruption-inspired solo titled Exploder. With growing attention from the States, Loudness would re-record the vocals for an English version of Disillusion to appeal more to Western audiences, which seems kinda weird since a lot of the lyrics on the original version were in English anyway. But aside from the vocals, the only major difference between the two is the opening track included on the English version, a sort of classically themed instrumental. Loudness would sign with Atco Records, a subsidiary of Atlantic, to release Thunder in the East in 1985. Produced by Max Norman, this album was a full attack on the Western market.
Nowadays, it doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but in those days, trying to break into America, which was the whole point, that was really kind of a struggle. Mickey spoke the best English out of all of them, being a singer, but even his English was not very good, and so it was kind of difficult.
But despite any language barrier concerns, the album was a success, largely due to the single Crazy Nights, which was showcased on MTV.
I remember asking them, more than one occasion, what does it mean? MZA, I love it. MZA. They were like, it doesn't mean anything, just sounds good.
This album is so good. Every track really stands out, and again, there's just a nice mix, like the power ballad We Could Be Together. The video sees a girl in the audience awkwardly flirting with Minoru, so he awkwardly flirts back. There was a VHS release at the same time, so technically every song on the album has a video, which are mostly made up of footage from the same performance. However, there are a couple of themes, like a woman we see climbing stairs between each video. Eventually, she makes it to the roof, where Loudness is playing Clockwork Toy.
Don't do this, don't do that, don't look back, you must stop.
I freaking love the bridge on this track. It's easily one of my favorite parts on the album.
Don't try to tell me you've been deceived. It's what I like. You try to tell me what's right for me. Turn the knife, twist the key.
There's also a track that sounds like it came straight off a Manowar album. The video for Heavy Chains has the woman back to her old tricks climbing stairs again. She makes it up to a terrifying room where some creepy mannequin versions of the band are just hanging out. She moves to a gated area and closes the door, which is probably a good idea because the mannequins suddenly come to life.
Just like a knife into her heart, keeping her down.
As the mannequins are walking off, all of a sudden they mysteriously disappear. Then, perhaps even more mysteriously, they reappear just a couple seconds later. In No Way Out, things get really weird. The woman can somehow control the mannequins, and she leads them into an operating room. She starts to cut one of them open, while the others just sit there waiting. And if that wasn't disturbing enough, the mannequins have nipples.
Try to make your body hypnotized. I went over it, I got my doubts. I tried everything, there's no way.
Finally, just to add a little extra fuel to my nightmares, She hosts a dinner party for the mannequins in the closing track, Never Change Your Mind.
How my love grows, give up time and the chance you'll see.
With nothing resolved or explained, she
It kind of sounds like Iron Maiden's, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, the concept album, right? It tells you the entire story, which is why it's one of my favorite albums. Like Seventh Son of Seventh Son, it's like I can listen to that all day long, along with Megadeth's So Far So Good, because that was my first album, right? And but I think Seventh Son of a Seventh Son was the first album I bought for myself, apart from what my dad had, right? And so I've always loved Seventh Son because it was not only it's a great album, but it's an album that I paid for myself. It was on cassette, of course. It was cheaper than paying $30 for album or something. And I think it was $15 or $16 back then for a cassette. And then of course, I bought So Far So Good for myself as well. It was the first Megadeth album. So when you listen to things over and over again, and it's so ingrained in you, you never stop listening to it. So those are two albums that I've never stopped listening to, kind of in the sense, like, except for like a 4-year break, or a 6-year break there in the 2000s, late 90s and 2000s. But this whole album feels like a concept album. It's like, say, The Wall from Pink Floyd. You get a whole story, like a rock opera, and I think that's why the whole idea of the lady going up the stairs and they're doing a new song comes into play, because they have an idea where they wanted to go. Each tell a story through the album, which in a way Seventh Son is.
She gets up and walks off to awesome, triumphant music she's done nothing to earn.
That's a wicked solo.
After an initial release in Japan under the title Shadows of War, Loudness would release their 6th album in the States as Lightning Strikes, with a different track order.
Man.
The US version starts off with the very LA sounding single, Let It Go. The video is mostly the band playing, but it's also part documentary about how Akira's guitar is made. Apparently, this guitar has magical powers, though, because it suddenly flies off and teleports the band back to Japan for a very special cameo. Lightning Strikes doesn't hit quite as hard as Thunder in the East for me, but it does have some standout tracks, like Ashes in the Sky, previously titled Shadows of War on the Japanese version of the album.
Oh wow! I just realized that sounds like Queensryche. That lead break. I think it's from Jet City Woman. Yeah, this one. Check this out. Yeah, it's like I can hear the song. I just can't. I'm sure it's from Jet City Woman, but like just that riff. I hear it calling. Yeah, that's the line where it's played. It's like I hear it calling. Jet City Woman. By the way, that's one of my other favorite albums as well, from Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime. Like, bought that as well back in the day on cassette.
We're influenced by Deep Purple.
Yeah.
And this guitar player, Akira, is influenced by Rich Blackmore a lot.
Lightning Strikes is good, but I personally enjoy their 7th album, Hurricane Eyes, a lot more. This one would get an English release first, followed by a Japanese version a few months later. It goes into even more of a glam direction, but it totally works for me. The single, This Lonely Heart, for example, is pretty good. It got a video with the band rocking out in the desert wasteland. There are also some ladies wandering around, and I can only assume they're lost in the desert looking for the concert. Yes, they're dressed like it's the post-apocalypse.
It's like
but
Mad
that's
Max.
also just how people dressed in the 80s.
Or a boy and his dog.
Overall, this one is really solid, with several awesome tracks. In My Dreams in particular stood out for me. The album closer, So Lonely, is a reworking of the album closer from Disillusion, Aries Lament, and it's just as awesome here as it was before.
Harmonies are awesome.
As the brief success Loudness had in America seemed to be fading, they'd release a Japanese-only EP titled Jealousy to try and reconnect with their Japanese fans who they felt they'd been neglecting. But the Western market was still apparently a priority, and following the release of the Jealousy EP, the decision would be made to replace Minoru with Mike Viscera, an American singer previously.
All right, we'll pop over to some music. All right, some concert music from Loudness. Back to 1985. If that isn't thrash, what is? All right, back to the doco. So they got Michael Viscera and right, that's where we stopped.
But the Western market was still apparently a priority, and following the release of the Jealousy EP, the decision would be made to replace Minoru with Mike Viscera, an American singer previously of the band Obsession.
As I recall, people were thinking he wasn't getting any better with his English. You know, obviously everything's a lot more, you know, cosmopolitan these days. But in those days, you know, it was quite a big deal.
The first of two Loudness albums with Michael would be Soldier of Fortune. It's got some really great tracks on it, but by replacing Minoru, Loudness would lose one of the major components that made them unique.
Imagine replacing your lead singer who's been along with you the whole way But of course, the band is made up of the main core of the band is the bass player, the drummer, and the guitarist, right? They're the core. They're the ones who formed it, and so they brought in, Minoru as their singer. It's kind of like what Dave does, right? Dave is the core. Dave is Megadeth, and he brings other people to do the music per album or stay around, depending on how long the contract's for, whatever, right? But when it comes to sound, it's if with Alice in Chains, I'm a fan since like the moment I heard Man in the Box when that single got released as a video in New Zealand, which is like around about 89 or something like, or 91, I can't remember exactly, but I remember going to town the next day and buying the cassette, seeing if it was in the friggin', if it was at the record store, because why else would it be on TV, right? But Lane is what defined, right? Alice in Chains, the voice just totally stood out, just like Minoru's, right? It's the same as Bruce Dickinson. So you remove Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, it goes back to somebody blasé, right? There's been Blaze and some other people have been singing, and of course there's original singers as well for Iron Maiden, but everybody knows Bruce as Iron Maiden, right? The music is the music. The music's always going to sound the music, right? But the vocal of a band is the most important thing, no matter how much people like to say it's not, because it's almost like the tone is there with the vocals. And a lot of metal bands, I've noticed over the years that I haven't paid attention to or I've just ignored, is because of the vocals. If the vocals don't settle in well with the music, or if it's like too raspy or it's too squealy, I'm like, it just sounds too girlish. I'm not gonna think, which is why a lot of James Hetfield's voice sounds so good with Metallica. You replace him with somebody who sounds a bit more heavy metal, glam rock style, you would never want to listen to Metallica at all. To be honest, you wouldn't. And you watch with the Loud album, with the sound, whatever, people always go the first 4 albums the best because they don't change, right? But when, which is why people still stay with Megadeth, because Dave is the voice, right? As well as the guitar and all that, but Dave is the voice. Now you replace Dave with somebody else, you'll be like, oh, it's just another metal band. So replacing, singers is kind of like sometimes you got to do it because someone is like freaking getting drunk all the time or getting drugged up and can't even perform. You got to make the call to say, well, we need to get rid of them, find someone just as good. Now with Alice in Chains, of course, it took them a while to find a replacement, but Alice in Chains hasn't reached the same level that they used to do with the first Up to Frog, right? Is it Frog Stomp? No, it's Frog. The clear yellow cassette album, right? With a dog, 3-legged dog on the cover. That was the last album they put out with Lane. And it's like, ever since they haven't, as much as the music's good, the lyrics are good, they haven't reached the same standard because everybody loved Lane's voice. So so their previous couple previous with this dude. But the other thing is you lose that whole Japanese feel to it as well. What made them cross over was like a quality Japanese band who could also sing in English. However, what they needed was someone who could manage them, who spoke English as well as Japanese, right? Which is what happens a lot in wrestling, right? If you have a Latino or Mexican or South American wrestler, especially Mexican, because there's a lot more Mexican wrestlers than any other Latin wrestlers, right? Luchadores, right? And so they always get someone who speaks English to manage them on TV, right? Because you can only say, because when you're wrestling in your own country, you're not going to be like, I'm going to break out in English now, because your audience is Mexican or your audience is South American, right? They speak Latin. So you're not going to worry about, learning how to speak any other language because that's your audience. But then you got to cross over, and you get a contract with a bigger, with an international company. So like if you're an American, you're going to Japan, you got to learn the language, or you got to get somebody there to manage you. So they needed someone who could actually manage them without having to replace a singer. And I think that would have probably hurt them. And now, it's good to have them back with the original singer, with Mickey, right? Monaro.
The single You Shook Me got a video shot at Bronson Canyon in Los Angeles.
Tonight's the night, I'm breaking out. I've got to know what it's all about. Baby, there ain't no way I'm gonna lose you.
Just sounds like another, there's the thing, right? Straight away you can say it just sounds like any other American heavy metal band. Honestly, like, how many bands can you think of in your head that sounds like that with their vocals?
They rock so hard that it causes an avalanche and destroys the Hollywood sign.
Just a
Somewhat
simple
ironically,
band.
Soldier of Fortune would do really well in Japan, but not even chart in the US. Still, Loudness would find themselves suddenly needing money.
The management had been abusing their power for quite some time, and we found out that we were broke.
So they decided to release an album with Michael singing old Loudness songs in Japan only, where they were basically guaranteed a hit record.
We'll cover some of the old Loudness stuff and have English lyrics, but we'll release it in Japan. And anything in Japan we would release would be gold and platinum within a couple of days.
But the record label would have other plans. And in early 1991, On the Prowl would be released internationally with only 3 previously unreleased tracks, including Down and Dirty.
Sounds like Motley Crue.
The rest would be either rearrangements of previously released material or straight covers, like In the Mirror. This is one of my favorite tracks from those early Loudness albums. And personally, even though Michael is a great singer, I'd rather just listen to those original versions.
That's why On the Prowl's a little odd, because it originally wasn't supposed to be for the world. It was only for Japan. They let us do a couple new songs, but it was just a bad idea.
Even though On the Prowl went to number 7 in Japan, frustration within the band was growing, both with the music industry in general and direction for the band within a changing musical landscape.
Akira was really getting into the super heavy stuff at that point. He was almost getting to where he didn't want to play leads anymore. He wanted to sort of go into the heavy grungy kind of thing, and you could kind of see that in Slap in the Face.
What is the problem? Why you always pull my chain? Gotta pick myself up off the floor.
That was the last thing we did together in the studio, and it was a single, again, for Japan, get it out, make some money, promote it. Cool song, heavy, but that was the direction it was heading in, and even heavier. It was almost getting a little bit too dark. Wasn't my thing, but, it was cool.
As Michael Viscera went on to record one of my favorite Yngwie Malmsteen albums, The Seventh Sign, Loudness would recruit former EZO singer Masaki Yamada. Bassist Masayoshi would also leave, and former ex-Japan bassist Taiji Sawada would join Loudness to record their self-titled 10th album.
Man, that sounds so good.
If you're gonna check out the heavier material from Loudness, this is definitely the album to go with. I will admit I'm not really a groove metal guy, but if you are, you'll probably like this one even more. Still, this album is super easy to listen to. It's got the kick-ass riffs and Akira Takasaki solos you want, mixed in with the more Anthrax or Pantera styling. It's probably worth noting that Black Widow is one of only 2 Loudness music videos from the 90s, so let's just enjoy it for a second. There are also a couple superior standout tracks on this one, like Hell Bites and, of course, Racing the Wind. Although the self-titled Loudness album seemed to be going in a good direction for 1992 and even reached number 2 in Japan, everyone would essentially quit the band. Akira would take a trip to India around this time and convert to Buddhism. He'd eventually return and talk Masaki into sticking around to record another album, along with former EZO drummer Hirotsugu Homa. Heavy Metal Hippies would kick off a series of borderline experimental albums for Loudness and Akira Takasaki. Akira, Masaki, and Hirotsugu.
Apart from the lyrics, that sound back there, that's pretty friggin' good. Like, listen to that again, right?
And Akira Takasaki.
This part coming up. That's almost like a Slayer riff, right? And it's just like that really bass rhythm, right? You know, sound. It's like the driving force, man. It's so good.
Akira, Masaki, and Hirotsugu would be joined by bassist Naoto Shibata, previously of Anthem, for the next 3 Loudness albums. Ghetto Machine from 1997,
That's the one that
Dragon from
Paula
1998,
said, right?
and Engine from 1999.
Yeah. So Paula said that Razor Fist goes on about the Japanese band, a metal band, Anthem. We might have a look at that later as well after X on our list of international bands, metal bands to look at.
Known collectively as the Buddha rock period, these albums are just a big mix of 90s. Some tracks are groovy grunge, some are sludgy doom, some are basic alt rock, and some are just a jam. I won't say these albums are devoid of good stuff, because I did find myself enjoying bits and pieces.
Sounds like Hot Fuzz Pizza. That's Steve Vai. Steve Vai.
But there is a rebellious streak running throughout these albums, which is illustrated best in their other 90s music video for the single Dog Shit. Yeah, Dog Shit. I have to say, it's got a cool Rage Against the Machine thing going, and I can't help but kind of like it.
That's pretty cool. It's kind of like a Kid Rock song, right? It's that whole attitude. It's like they're trying to make fun of that whole time, you know. That rock rock rap mix, right? That hip hop mix. And it's like he's doing everything that everybody hates about that period. So he's like, it feels like he's making a joke about it, but the whole thing, like even dressing up, the head backwards, you know. The thing is, I was there, and when you live through it, you know how everybody was doing stuff, right? Was it Limp Bizkit? the only great thing about that period was Korn. Korn had a great way of like knowing how to like what they wanted as a band. And it wasn't like it didn't feel like they were like more musically inclined than trying to be like in your face, well, we're here, look at us. And I think Korn, that's what I think makes Korn stand out, having been a band of the, being part of that whole new metal movement, even though I don't think I kind of don't class Korn as a new metal band, even though everybody lumps it because of that time period. But excuse me. But like this is Kid Rock right here, right?
I have to say, it's got a cool Rage Against the Machine thing going, and I can't help but kind of like it.
Wait. It also Geronica, I can never say his name right. Juramaneque or whatever his name is, right? With the hat, with the beanie and all that. It's just look at the way the guys are like just moving around in this. Sitting there in the bathroom. It's so good. It's like a parody of like of that period. It's just so good.
Thing going, and I can't help but kind of like it.
Yeah.
As 2001 approached, Masaki would actually suggest to Akira that he get the original lineup.
We need to bring this back, to be honest. I think we need to bring that song back in a big way. Like, yeah, I think everybody should be listening to that song right now. Dog shit. Well, let me see if I can find the actual full version of that song, because that is so cool. Hold on. Loudness, dog shit. Is it dog shite? Dog shite? Hold on. No, that's not. Why did I go to that? Dog shit? It's weird. It's like, if it comes up, it goes dog shite live. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. No, it's Commando, everything else. Well, I'll keep that playing while we go find the song.
Of Loudness back together for the 20th anniversary. So Munetaka, Masayoshi, Akira, and of course Minoru would get back together to release their 15th album, Spiritual Canoe. While it's great to have the original lineup back, and the music is more focused, the overall presentation would stay pretty heavy, with a mix of groovy thrash like The End of Earth, and sort of grungy alt rock like the track How Many More Times. In fact, their next several albums are kind of hard to describe because while they have a similar feel overall, each one emphasizes a different aspect of their sound. Like Pandemonium, for example, which generally leans more alt-rock, or Biosphere, which goes into a more industrial-tinged new metal direction, and Terror emphasizes a lot of doom and death metal elements.
Damn, that's good.
I am kind of oversimplifying these albums because there's just so many of them, but they're all really a mix of all those things. While the musicianship is still excellent and Akira's guitar playing is always amazing, This stretch of Loudness albums are still a bit too much on the new metal side for my taste. While their 19th album, Racing, is not quite as awesome as I'd hoped, based entirely on its title, it does feel like a step in the right direction, partially indicated by the return to their old logo. It still feels like a mix of a lot of different influences, maybe too many, and there is still a lot of aggressive, in-your-face energy. As well as more of the Pantera vibey groove-based stuff. And while that's not really my thing, Racing also has stuff like Live for the Moment. So there's a lot going on here. Loudness would release Breaking the Taboo in 2006 and Metal Mad in 2008, with essentially the same approach.
the sky, a spirit of metal we never.
2009's The Everlasting would be the last Loudness album with drummer and founding member Munetaka Higuchi, who would pass away just before they finished recording. The single Hit the Rails is okay, but the track after it, Flame of Rock, is full-on badass. Session drummer Masayuki Suzuki would fill in on one track, I Wonder. But Loudness liked working with him so much, they brought him on as Higuchi's full-time replacement. For his first full album with the band, King of Pain, they wanted to focus less on Akira's guitar work and more on Masayuki's awesome drumming. (2011's Eve to Dawn is more guitar-driven compared to King of Pain, and I think lays the groundwork for modern-day Loudness. There are still a ton of different influences, but Akira's gotten really good at blending them together. How long can we stand eternal domination, shining eyes to the reality? One of my favorite examples of this from Eve to Dawn is Gonna Do It My Way, which starts off sounding like someone's UFC entrance music.
Oh, wrestling.
And then goes into a catchy, almost poppy chorus.
Just the way I like it. I'm gonna do it my way.
2012 is another
15
great
years
entry
ago.
along the same lines. Interestingly,
more
in the
thrashy.
video for Break New Ground, both Dreadlocks Akira and the new Blonde Akira make an appearance. But for me, as far as the current lineup of Loudness goes, their 26th album, The Sun Will Rise Again, is where it's at.
That sounds like Deep
It's still
Purple.
fairly similar to their other
It's all
21st
great.
century output, but this one has the most standout
Dark Knight.
tracks for me
Or
and
Black
just
Knight.
some really cool parts. Plus, it ends with the excellent track Not Alone. Or doesn't if you have the US version.
It's meant to be. The angels one, legends of creation. So the future, be afraid. Cause you're not alone.
The most recent Loudness album, Rise to Glory from 2018, is pretty solid too. What's great about the current version of Loudness is that you both know what to expect and don't know what to expect.
You gotta burn you up now. Get your soul on fire.
You know they have a ton of influences and styles to pull from. You know the musicianship is going to be top notch, and you know there's going to be some interesting and intricate Akira Takasaki solos.
So fucked, man.
But it always comes together with creative twists, and you never know how those influences will manifest themselves. Since it's been 3 years now since a new Loudness album, hopefully they have something in the works and we can find out what's next. And that is Loudness. Hope you dug the video and had fun taking a look at an awesome...
Okay, so that's from Metal School. However, good news. That's an older doco, right? But the most recent news is Sunburst came out in 2021. This is the cover of it here. That cool or what? It's like, I know Iron Maiden released one similar looking cover recently as well from Japan. I don't remember what it was called. But yeah, summary on there. Fighting the sea monster. And of course, the Loudness logo, kind of like a logo, take on the logo, which is a double wings. So yeah, that Sunburst. And as we finish off here, it's a 2 CD as well. So it's a double disc, right? And I guess it came out in the middle of COVID, so kind of got buried. I'm going to go, let me go grab a song because I was having the other song lined up, dog shit. But I'm going to find one from Sunburst so we can have a listen to that before we move on to dog shit as the last song of the night. Oh, well, afternoon. It's only 4 o'clock here. Now, there we go. There's Sunburst. Okay. Now, did that release a single off that? See if there's. Let me just check if there's like if there is a video to that. Oldest, newest, latest. 6 years ago. No, it's a bit. It's a bit old. Let me see. No, they don't seem to have like any video to that. All this stuff is like older. So yeah, let's go listen to an instrumental, and then we'll go to dog shit. as the last song for the evening or afternoon, as I said. All right, let's get this. This is Rising Sun is instrumental from the last album they put out. Well, the latest album, 2021. So it's only 4 years old. So grab it. You know, I'm sure it's on SoundCloud and all that other places, if not physical. So let's have a listen to it. And we won't be playing all of it because otherwise I'll shut down the stream, as we noticed early on. Okay, let me just put on a bit of music from there, so you guys get a taste of what's to. I have to say, that is an amazing album cover. It's just so colorful, so dark, right? And then you've also got the devil there and everything. It's just, man, that's a huge, huge samurai sword. I've got one over there and I've got one on the other side, but like that is huge. My one's around about this long, the blade. I think on both of them, but this is like almost double the size of the blade. But yeah, it's awesome. All right, so I'm gonna put on, where we go, dog shit, right? And then we'll play that, and then after that we'll finish off. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. That's pretty cool. Appreciate it. And also Paulus for hanging out in the chat, sharing with us. But yeah, I didn't realize that was a cover for it, but yeah. We'll play some of it because I know, if I play all of it, we'll probably, they might close down the stream. Man, that is such a good song. I'm gonna have to put it onto my mobile, like have my headphones, listen to it every other day. Like it's just so good. The link for that song is in the chat, along with if you play that, it's the whole playlist from that album. Also, do check out Loudness, man. Seriously, watch like going through all the albums from being a little boy band, right? Pop rock boy band, and then deciding that all they ever wanted was to be a rock metal band, right? Being inspired by Deep Purple and stuff, to now, and that's a lot of. I'm just looking at this here. I'm saying that's a lot of messy, text there. But yeah, so that was dog shit just there from Loudness, and I think I like they're like their harder stuff, then they're more like, I guess, in the sort of the glam rock Motley Crue style, even though those songs are really good. Like if you listen to them, Akira's guitar playing and the bass is just amazing on that, and of course Mickey's Minori's vocals are amazing, and the fact that they changed with the times, but without being like shallow about it, kind of like what Metallica did with Load and Reload. these guys didn't. They just went hard even more. So yeah, as we finish off here, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Come and check out my, if you've never been to this channel, at least once a week I try to talk, put on some metal, some music. The rest of the time I'm talking about like, stuff happening around the world, news and all that. But there's also another channel we've got, which talks about pop culture, entertainment, and what we create as a as a comic books and stuff like that. So, which is we've got comics coming up this year, horror from basically all ages, superhero comics, all the way to R-rated horror, which is this crazy one right in the middle top with the red, with the guy going like this. That's Templeton. And that's like R-rated horror. It's like just full on. And because my taste goes from like, I guess, cartoons all the way to horror movies. So, I mean, yesterday I was looking at like, or was it this morning? I was looking at Hellraiser. We're going to be doing a look at Hellraiser comics in the future over at the Plunge Comics page. So you guys can check that out. And because I remember like reading Nightbreed as a comic way back in the late or early 90s, late 80s, and that was after reading having watched Hellraiser the movie, going to find out that it was actually based on a book called Hellbound Heart, and then reading that and then finding out there's Nightbreed, and I'm trying to see if there's Nightbreed in front of me or if it's on another level there. It's somewhere else. I think I moved it around a bit. The DVD. Right, by Clive Barker movie. He actually, wrote and directed his own movie based on his own book. So yeah, we're going to be looking at Clive Barker in the future on the over here on the comics Plunge Comics page channel, whatever. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me, and for everybody who hung out in chat. Thank you, Paul. Paula's Arts, and wherever you guys are, be well, be safe, have an awesome day, week, night, wherever you are, and we'll catch you in the next one. Give us a like, follow, or comment, and hey, if you enjoyed this video, share it. But also, I mean, it's really cool to be able to share music that I'm finding out about myself, right? I only found out about these guys about end of last year, and I decided to do, or maybe even early this year, to do to look at them and do a deep dive into them in this way, because somebody did a video on them and I came across my page, homepage, and I thought, why not look into it a bit more? And because that's how we discover music, right? In the old days was somebody telling you, hey, I heard the song, check it out. And so this kind of like, when it comes to this channel, it's basically like that. Look, I saw this, and let me know if you guys enjoy what we're putting on here. And if you get deep into the music and start buying it, man, that's even better, because artists need your support, right? So thank you so much, and we'll catch you next one. Ka kite ano.
Nope. Can't stay here anymore. I gotta get back. I think this was the spot. Oh Lord, I beseech thee, please return me to my old life. I swear I'll do anything. Like, literally anything. And I won't bother you again, so pretty please bring me back to life.